One second, guys. 1 second. You gotta do this before I hit the live button. Let's see here. Boom, boom. Hey, what is going on? What is going on? It's Mike Clark, Keys to Knowledge team, powered by the War team, man. Today was a busy day, man. It was a very, very busy day. Talk a little more about this later on, but I want to talk specifically today about what you guys see right here, the flyer. I want to, let you guys know immediately. Time just got updated. That's my fault. Thought the library was open at 12 p.m. on Sunday. It actually opens up at 1. But once again, I love the downtown El Paso library. Nancy, she's the librarian that oversees all the events there. She's great. And she actually was able to give me another hour based off of my mistake. So that was great. So it starts from 1 to 4, February 22nd, 2026. It's going to be this Sunday. And as you guys can see, it's Protect Your Equity, the El Paso Property Tax Masterclass Seminar. I'm going to start off like this. Listen, I'm not a tax expert. I'm not a CPA or any professional outside of being just a realtor. One thing about what I love to do prior to even getting my real estate license is always educating. I'm not someone who has all the answers. I'm just someone who's at least researching information and trying to understand it in a way that I can explain it at the lowest level possible. Because I promise you, I will, no matter what's being explained to me, I have no problem raising my hand and saying, hey, what does that mean in the simplest form? That's the easiest way to say it. So that's the goal with this, to give you the information in a relatable way, in an understanding way, where you can move forward with a little more confidence when it comes to your property taxes. One of the biggest things we're going to talk about, of course, is exemptions. Exemptions is huge. You need to understand exemptions, how they're applied to your home. We need to understand exemptions and timelines. We need to understand the benefits of having exemptions in place. If you're a homeowner and you're arguing about or you're talking how bad the property taxes are, you have no exemptions, that's your first problem. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. Of course, we're all going to talk about timelines, different dates that you should remember. Of course, none of this is going to go super in depth. It's going to give you a broad overview, but at least it's going to give you a starting point of the information you should be thinking about or learning how to develop. Now, say you say, hey, Mike, I don't have time to wait for this. Where do I get this information from? All right, well, that's easy. I'm going to tell you, you can always go to the Central Appraisal District. That is a location you can actually call and get great information. I Googled them, and I'm a person that goes off of reviews. I don't know if you go off of reviews, but I do. And when I put in Central Appraisal District, they have a 3.0. They have a 3.0. Usually you want a 4.0, but, I say that to say this, the reviews don't really, highlight exactly how the El Paso Central Appraisal District is. I don't think they should have a low rating because I think there's a little confusion when it comes to this. But for example, one of the last review was a month ago, right? It says, so it all started with me going with me into the office to file my DB exemption. The lady that assisted me was super friendly and assured me that they would get the paperwork done before the week's end. Even though it was right before Christmas, like a week or so early, she told me she was going to get it done ASAP and that it should reflect within 2 weeks on the Central Appraisal District website and 3 to 4 weeks from the tax office that I would Now, middle of January, the exemption did get updated, called my mortgage company, and they said the tax office or the CAD had not sent anything to them. Now, see, once again, when you're dealing with stuff like this, you need to understand that you have to be on top of it. One thing that I'm learning, one thing that a fellow realtor of mine, um, has explained to me is you have to do other people's jobs for them. And I get it in this instance. Like I said, some of these reviews, it's not going to highlight overall um, the behavior of Central Appraisal District. I would say they do have a lot of friendly personnel there, staff members. Everyone's super friendly, and they will take the time to explain certain things. Like I've never had a really bad issue. You know what I'm saying? And when it comes to making sure papers are filed properly, I've never had an issue with that as well. Now, that's not to say that you're not going to have an issue on the back end messing with your mortgage company. Of course, it's going to be a little lag in there, right? But as long as you're communicating, you're putting everybody on the phone, and you're doing everything responsibly, boom, it works. But anyway, like I said, going back to the master class, we're going to talk about exemptions. We're going to talk about timelines. We're going to highlight protests. We're going to highlight how to protest, the different formats when it comes to protesting your taxes. The importance of protesting your taxes is another big thing. I understand. I don't know if most of you guys understand, but a big chunk of our homeowners are 65 and older, and the veteran community. If you understand that, or you just understand those numbers, or you can really kind of digest what I'm saying immediately, you're going to understand that they get a huge exemption. Most of the VA disabled veterans are getting, of course, a large um, discount when it comes to their property taxes. Same with 65 and older. So they're not really running out to go ahead and protest their taxes. But we need to understand that if you know someone that's disabled, or you know somebody who's a disabled veteran, still have them go out and protest their taxes. They're not necessarily protesting their taxes um, just to be protested. Basically, they're protesting really to defend everybody's market value overall of what's being taxed, essentially. Because understand this, you could be fighting your property taxes, but your neighbors on the left and right of you both are VA exempt 100%, and they don't fight their property taxes at all. So it's being assessed higher and higher and higher. And guess what? Your home is right there with them. It's going up higher and higher and higher. And, without people going out and doing what they need to do when it comes to protesting, it's going to be difficult for you to challenge that as well, because, that's just what it is. I would also say one of the things we're going to talk about when it comes to protesting is, the evidence, what is needed when you're protesting taxes. I think there's a mindset that says, hey, listen, I don't want to protest my taxes because I'm saying my home is not worth this. Okay, your home could be worth 300,000. Let's just say this, for example, it's worth 300,000. Now, could you sell the home? I don't want to say it like that. Your home is worth 300,000. Market price, if you were to sell it, is 300,000. However, gotta remember, you're going off of market price. You're going off of comps, recent comps that are in the area. So homes that are sold in your area, similar size, similar everything. Okay, your home, you believe it's 300,000. You do a CMA. However, just because the market goes up and down, similar homes in your area, they just recently sold for 290. Your home really should be down at 290, just because of market value. Now, one of the things we're going to talk about, not in detail, but I'm definitely going to highlight, is understanding how the appraisal process is with your home. How is your market value being dictated? Who's doing it? And, believe it or not, most of you guys don't know, Central Appraisal District has a software that kind of does a mass appraisal, and you can have whatever feelings you may have about it. You may say that's not fair, it makes no sense. However, you have to understand there's not enough staff members to go out to each and every individual home and do these appraisals. With that being said, it doesn't mean that that's all the more reason why you should go and protest your property taxes. When you protest your property taxes, you're in a packet. Central Appraisal District has to talk to you, or they have to let you know um, what the supporting evidence they have of why they believe your home is worth what it's worth. I give you a great example. Listen, I have a duplex, and I run into this issue every time, and I do fight my taxes on this one every single time. And this is before I became a realtor and I understood what CMAs were and I understood all this stuff at a higher level. But now, like I said, I definitely understand it. But back then I didn't. I just assumed, hey, well, I didn't even assume. I don't think I did anything wrong. I think I still kind of did it, but I could have supported it a little bit better. But anyway, I have a duplex and there's multiple duplexes on the same street, maybe a half mile or more from my house, max 1 mile away, identical, look exactly alike. And I took photos of this. I got details of this home. And that's what I used as supporting evidence, assuming my home would be valued at where these ones are valued. Like I said, it's the exact same build. They look identical. They look like triplets. They look like twins, man. And I talked to the first appraiser. As normally you do it in like an informal setting. I submitted it to him, and he's basically told me, well, you don't know what that property owner evidence was when they protested their taxes. You don't know if they had damages to the house. You don't know if they're collecting rent. You don't know X, Y, and Z. And I challenged them by saying, hey, listen, I go past these properties. They are rented out. There's no way that they're renting these properties out and they're not being maintained. Anyway, long story short, didn't work at all. I got really emotional. Do not get emotional. Remember, you have to back things up with actual evidence. That's the only way you're going to be able to do this. So make sure that you have all your ducks in a row. You have full information when it comes to the CMAs, homes that are in your area. You just have to do it that way. That way, you'll get the best outcome on what you're looking for. Once again, I never finished. There's two layers when it comes to this. You have your informal and then you have your formal meeting. Hold on one sec. Let me see here. Boom, boom, boom. All right, boom. Boom. Where we at? Okay. Yeah. So you have your formal and your informal setting. Understand that. Listen, if you're gonna make it past the appraiser, he's gonna ask the same thing that the formal. Zaylen. They're gonna ask the same thing that the formal committee is going to ask. So I think it's a panel of, I don't know, 3 or 4 appraisers. If you make it past the informal part, then you go upstairs and you're going to speak to a panel of different individuals. It's like 4 individuals, and now you're still doing the same thing. You have to have supporting evidence, and then from there, now you're going to try to defend your position against to 4 different people, 4 different individuals. Now, the only thing with this process is if you're not good at arguing, if you're not good at thinking on the fly or formulating your thoughts very quickly, you're going to have a problem with this. You literally get like 3 minutes per point. It's crazy. So you have your opening statement that you're allowed to have. You have your your opening statement. You have your argument, your position that you're arguing. You have Central Appraisal District, that individual, the position they're arguing. Then you get to cross-examine each other. And then from there, you do your closing statement. And within that, you're getting like 3 minutes per, 2 minutes per. Like it's extremely fast. So please go there with your information ready to go, man. Like I said, we're going to talk more about this at the actual class this Sunday. So once again, if this is new information to you, if this is something you want to learn, please, please, please show up. If you know somebody that has a home, even if you don't go to this, just take my advice here, share this piece of information, this nugget. I don't want to say share, ask this question. Do you have your homestead exemption on your home? And if they look at you with like a deer in the headlights, we have a problem. We have a problem because obviously you have not filed your homestead exemption. That is big, man. I'm going to talk a little bit about homestead exemption. We're going to talk about the VA exemption, and we're going to talk about 65 and older exemption. For the ones that don't know, homestead and for 65 and older, those, I don't want to say credit. Those exemptions increased when it came to the school tax, the school portion of your tax bill. We're going to break that down. We're also going to break down some of the entities that are within your actual property tax bill. One of the other things we're going to talk about in this class is understanding the purpose of central appraisal district. I think that's another thing when you're going through the comments and you're understanding why some people are upset, or we hear central appraisal district, we kind of get it confused thinking that they're the ones setting the tax rate, they're the ones charging the property taxes. They're not doing anything but assessing your property. That's all they're doing. They can care less. Understand when you go, if you want to know the in and out of your property taxes, Google El Paso property taxes. From there, you can go and you can see your actual tax bill. You see how much you owe per year, right? But then there's also a link for a breakdown, a full breakdown. So you're talking about all the entities, all the different groups, basically, of what makes up your tax bill. So, for example, you have a $6,000 or $8,000 tax bill. There may be four different groups charging a tax rate to come to make that $8,000 tax bill. So you may have EPCC charging money, EPISD charging you money. You have the city of El Paso, county of El Paso. They all have their own separate tax rates, and you have to pay all of them, right? And so that all makes up your actual bill of what you have to pay to all these different entities. Now, we have to understand too, because this happened all last year, and I've seen this in the comment sections a lot. And once again, like, I think this is just me just ranting at this point, but we have to understand that we have to go to these meetings. When they're sitting here saying, "Oh, we lowered the tax rate," or we're not charging higher on property taxes, that could be two things could be true at the same time. Let's be real. Two things could be true at the same time. Your tax rate did go down, but your property taxes still increased. Why did it increase? Because the Central Appraisal District is assessing your property higher and higher every year. That is a problem. Now, I went and voted early voting the day of early voting. If you haven't went out to vote, go vote. And within voting, there's I don't know what they're called, proclamations, or they're called I don't know what they're called, right? But when you go vote, you're gonna be able to vote for all these particular candidates, right? But then you also going to have different potential. I don't know if they're potential laws or potential. What I got to look it up. But one of the pieces that you got to vote on was over the next 4 years. Are you opposed or for or against? Oh, I say opposed or for. Where the next 4 years you're slightly getting an increase in your property taxes, and at that fourth year, property taxes are done. Yeah, check that out, man. I'm gonna do some research on it. I forgot what it was, but yeah, that's in there. So it's important to go to these elections, making sure you take the time, making sure you understand what you're voting for, all those good things. But I say that to say this: when, like I said, understand what the Central Appraisal District does. We're gonna have a conversation about that. Understand that the county has a tax rate. So nothing ends when one person talking about a tax increase or tax rate or property taxes increase, and understand that's just one entity. It doesn't include this one, doesn't include this one, doesn't include this one. You have to go to multiple meetings. And if you can't make it to multiple meetings, you have some options. You just gotta get the information early on. You can either write a letter, call your representative of whatever district or whatever entity there is. There has to be somebody who oversees these meetings, right? Also, you can go in person. I try to go as many as I can. One of the ways that I'm allowed to do that is, I'm generating business from referrals, which is great. I'm also generating business from just certain things, right? So with that being said, it's allowing me to have a little bit more time and flexibility. It's allowing me to go to these particular meetings, which I'm allowed to speak at. So That's what one thing I ask. Like I'm gonna continue pushing out information. I'm gonna continue doing what I'm doing, but in return, I'm just asking for referrals because that helps me continue to generate business, continuously uh, let my business thrive, and I'm able to give people A+ customer service that way as well as now being able to be focused on you know the matter at hand when it comes to what's going on in the city overall. There has to be advocates. There has to be someone there listening to these meetings be played out. Understand, like, look, you may not know everything. Heck, I think the people on the boards don't know everything. But if you're there every day and you're having the conversations every day, of course, you're going to be able to understand it at a much higher level. You're just going to be able to understand it regardless. But the first meeting I went to was very confusing. Second meeting I went to, very confusing. But by the fourth, fifth, you start learning the format. You start understanding call to order. You start understanding motions. You start understanding all these different things. And now you're able to really engage with the core content when you're talking about going to these city meetings, county commissioner meetings, when you're talking about going to public service board, all these, I'm telling you, there's committees all throughout El Paso, man. It'll blow your mind. So that's what I want to talk about. I'm not going to go in depth about a lot of that stuff, of course, but like I said, this particular seminar is simply going over a broad overview of property taxes and these different components that are with it as well, right? That helps you out in understanding what's going on and gives you, a general knowledge. So when you're talking to your friends, when you're talking to your family, you can also have that conversation. We have to be uncomfortable being uncomfortable. We have to have those uncomfortable conversations because I promise you, people could say, "Yeah, yeah, I understand, I know it." Okay, well, I get that you know it. Can you explain it to me? You're not challenging somebody, you're not asking them or trying to put them on the spot. But man, some people just say that just to stop talking about things. But you truly need to have a conversation and understand people's perspectives when when they say they understand something, man. Um, I used to do that all the time. Like, yeah, yeah, I understand it. Man, at this point now, hey, what does that mean? What are you talking about? Let me look into that. Let me research that. We now have Google, we have ChatGPT, we have AI, you have all this information at your hands. All you have to do is give me that information or give me a little bit and I can move forward with it. So that's the biggest piece. That's why I want to do the seminars. I'm gonna continue doing seminars. I'm also planning on hosting events throughout the year. I got a Easter egg hunt that we're planning on doing here soon. So trying to get all those components and pieces with it. So be on the lookout of that. All the events that I plan on hosting, uh, I want to be free. I want them to be free, of course. So definitely looking for sponsors. So if you're a sponsor, someone looking into partnering with a local realtor out here in El Paso, definitely give me a phone call. You see my number at the bottom of the screen, scrolling from left to right. And also the QR code goes straight to my website. I have all my social media platforms there. So let's connect. Let's work together. Um, I'm about educating as much as I'm about just learning, man. That's one of the big things I'm just trying to do, as well as educating the youth. That's another big piece. We need to understand that. So if you don't understand something, just imagine what a 16-year-old understands. Just imagine what an 18-year-old understands. There's still people 50 something years old and don't understand about exemptions, property taxes, taxes overall. I mean, we talking about taxes. If you're getting a tax return, you got to call that what it is, man. You got to understand you're overpaying throughout the year. That's why you're getting this return. I didn't know that for a very long time. I just like, oh, it's the end of the year. I'm getting this tax return, not knowing overspending and I didn't set my stuff up the right way. I'm not trying to give nobody free money so they can spend however they want to spend it. No, no. So we have to do a better job educating each other on understanding what's going on overall. So that's the purpose of this particular class. And that is the goal of what I want to achieve. My mindset when it comes to these seminars, I'm gonna be honest, not a lot of people attend. They don't, you know. However, that doesn't stop me or challenge me from continuously wanting to continue these particular seminars. It just doesn't. I want to continue doing it regardless. I'm gonna film it, record it, all that good stuff, regardless if someone shows up or not. Um, I always say this to everybody. I have a youth coach, football coach, and I always tell my players, I don't care if one player shows up, 20 players show up, or 100. I'm going to come here with a practice. I'm going to come here with the right mindset. I'm going to come here with the motivation to make sure that I get the best out of you when you hit this football field. It's the exact same way when you go to the seminar. You go into this library, please be prepared to understand I'm going to be passionate. I'm going to speak a certain way about it. Of course, you can always challenge my thoughts and my feelings on it too, as well. But I challenge you, if you feel passionate, just like I feel passionate, then you should also host some seminars as well. So I'm not the one trying to gatekeep anything. I would say get out and educate, man. Get out and educate. Everybody can do it. There's no problem doing it. Like I said, I'm just somebody who just I've always been this way, always been this way for a very, very long time. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns when it comes to the seminar, once again, the time did change from 12 to 3, from 12 to 3 to 1 to 4 p.m. It's on Sunday, February 22nd. There is free parking on Sundays. That's why I pick the Sundays. But there's not a lot of parking right next to the library. That's the only unfortunate thing. But this allows me to be in a central location. So if you're not too far on the west side, boom, you're close. You're central, close. Northeast, yes, it's kind of out the way, and especially on the east side, I get it. So I'm definitely going to try to find different locations to try to have these discussions. So that's going to be the goal. Now, we're going to pivot over because I don't want to go too long. So we're about 30 minutes. I want to pivot over now to what I've been doing, what I've been up to. Let me see. So let's go ahead and take this off the screen. So what have I been doing? What have I been up to? Man, I've been doing everything. I've been doing everything. I'm exhausted, as you guys can see, exhausted. But I'm going to do a better job at one, getting my systems together. I've learned that. I got to have systems, not semi-systems, not some weight, not a small amount of systems. Like you need full-blown systems from start to finish on, like I said, different components of what you're doing within your business. Like you just have to have that. I have some goals of what I want to do once I hit my year mark, and then from my year mark as being from a realtor, and then transitioning into a team. And I want to do some other stuff. So I'm trying to get everything laid out now so I can achieve that. What's going on with me recently? Just had a recent closing. Excited, ecstatic. Man, it couldn't happen to a better couple. One thing that I love about this business is it is a lot of hard work. I have to say it, and I have to say it clear. Like I thought realtors, to be honest, all they did was open a door. They didn't do anything, bro. And some realtors, that's just keep it real. That's what they do. But I promise you, man, I work from start to finish on this particular deal, man. And the deal coming up, and all my clients, like that's it's like it's crazy to say it like this, but I feel like LeBron James it like a game 7 and he won with the shot clock. Boom. Like I feel like that because I truly worked into that last hour, that last second to get this deal going through. I'm definitely learning, but it's rewarding at the end. It's rewarding because you can see everything was truly worth it. So once again, I appreciate it. I appreciate my clients trusting me. I appreciate even being able to use the word clients. I really appreciate that because that just put things in perspective that people trust you. And I don't take that lightly at all. I'll tell you that right now. If you become my client, I'm going to take that to the grave, bro. I'm going to take that. I don't want to say, bro, not only be disrespectful. I'm going to take that to the grave. I want to make sure that you understand that I'm passionate. I'm going to make sure everything's happening the way it needs to happen. I'm going to advocate for you. I'm going to speak up for you. I'm going to defend you. And I'm going to make sure, hey, you're getting the best deal possible. Like, understand that as well. You know what I'm saying? Uh, I am here for you. And what you're asking for, I gotta accommodate it within, within, a set standard. Like, it can't be too crazy, of course. But for the most part, you know what I'm saying? I am, I am definitely working for you, man, at the end of the day. So that's one thing I had going on today. I got some other closings coming up. That's been great. Also, YPN, Young Professional Network. If you're a realtor, if you are a young professional, not young in age, I got to say that clearly, not young in age, but just young in your profession and it's real estate related, let's let's contact me. Let's have a conversation. Let's network and let's see how we can work together. One thing about YPN, it's about network, it's about partnership, it's about exposure. I think that's giving me a platform and it's giving me a leg up over my competition. Like once again, I believe a lot of things. There's a lot of what I'm doing is it's just a ton of hard work. It is. I don't know how else to say it. It's a lot of work. It takes up a lot of your time. There's a lot of sacrifices with this stuff, but I believe putting in the work early is gonna carry over into those later years. So just time to work, man. Time to work. Time to grind. I'm not laying bricks, man. I'm not, out here, building roads. So I'm just every day using my brain, trying to figure out how to do things, using my mouth, you speaking those words into existence, having the gift of gab to speak to people, man. Like I think that's the biggest piece. You know what I'm saying? So that's where I'm at, man. So just slowly growing the business, setting the standard, making sure I'm creating those systems, staying in training. That's another big thing. Doing training. That's helping and having the conversations. Repetition when it comes to cold calling, repetition when it comes to script writing, and just going over my scripts. That's another big piece of this. So if you're a realtor and you're listening to this, look, man, I get it. I get it. We have every excuse why not we don't want to pick up that phone. We have every excuse why we don't want to talk to that person. But the moment we get out of our heads, the moment we're going to be able to achieve what we want to achieve, we don't know how things are going to play out. I'm still in my head about a bunch of different things that is stopping me. But sometimes, man, you just need that nudge. I had this nudge this weekend. It was another fellow realtor, man. We went to the PX, man. Went to the PX, and I promise you, I was game. Like we had the plan. We were going to go there. We were going to network. We were going to talk to people. And when we get there, I'm like, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. But we ended up getting up. We went through the motions, and I just like I'm not gonna talk to nobody. But this realtor right next to me, she pushed me. She pushed me. She said, "Hey, go get your business card out." And I don't know what happened. I just went, and I swear for the first like it felt like the fraction of a second it was awkward, right? But it was a great conversation at the end of the day. I wouldn't have did it if I didn't get that push. But in my mind, I'm like, oh man, this is not gonna look bad. But we don't know what's on the other side until we get there. We don't know what's on the other side. So we just have to go through the motions and find out. And then, vice versa, man. Um, we have to do a better job just challenging each other and challenging um, what we can do in life. Like let's not limit ourselves. So that's what I'm learning as well as I'm going through this. Like I said, with Young Professional Network, I really, really love it. We have some great events coming up. We had a call, I believe 2 days ago with all of the YPNs across the country. Oh my God, it's 150 of these beautiful, energetic, exciting individuals. I promise you. And I promise you, I got madder and madder and madder the more I heard about their events because they think their event's going to be better than mine. I promise you, I'm getting real like territorial when it comes to certain things because I take things as a challenge, even with these realtors. Like, oh, you think you can outmarket me? Oh, you think you can host more open houses than me? Oh, you know what I'm saying? So you start to develop that mindset and that's what I was doing when I was in that meeting. I didn't even speak. and I was mad I didn't speak, but it was 150 people in the room, and I was already coming back from something else. But once again, no excuses, man. So, you know, YPN is a great opportunity to, one, get yourself out there, two, help with leadership skills, three, network. You know, I tell you, man, I mean, I learned this concept later in my military career about networking. I didn't really grasp the concept. Now that I'm a realtor, I know how important it is immediately to network, immediately to be a subject matter expert on a bunch of different things, right? So understand that, man. Speak. You see me walking anywhere, man, speak, man. You see me online, write a message. Hey, how you doing? What's going on? Hey, I'll get back with you. You know what I'm saying? We got to get over this. No new friends. We got to get over this. I'm not talking to this person. This person, man, that ain't for me, bro. I'm willing to network, find out what's going on, and I'm trying to get to it, man. That's just the biggest thing I'm trying to do. So you should have that same mindset. 2026, I already made it in my mind what I'm going to be doing. Shout out to my broker Ben Williams from the Williams Advanced Realty team. We created. We went through a boot camp, semi boot camp, uh, right before Christmas, and I don't know, was it Christmas or a week before New Year's? I don't know, but we did this training. It was a week-long training, and we touched every aspect of your business. From tracking numbers to understanding scripts to understanding marketing, like a real reset going into the new year. And that truly motivated and shifted my mind on what's possible just by understanding your numbers. Now, let me give you an example. And see, look, now I'm ranting. Now I'm ranting. You're gonna be like, man, Mike over here ranting. I'm gonna put it in perspective for you, because some people don't understand. They just don't understand. Some things are just done with numbers, and that's the thing with sales. Like, I was talking to my cousin Ernie. He's the one who really motivated me to do sales before sales was even a thing in my mind. Um, I was always scared, like, I can't sell nothing. That type of job, there's no way I could ever do that. Now I can never see myself doing a W-2 job. I just couldn't. I would have to be sales. Let me see. Do I have it in here? I know I have it in here. My bad, y'all. Let me see. I got my binder. I got my business plan. Okay, so here we go. So my goal this year is supposed to be around. Let me print this out. So my goal this year on the amount of yearly income I'm trying to make, just for me specifically, so don't feel offended because I'm throwing these numbers out there. But my goal is 200,000. That's my goal on a yearly income. All right, and that's going to be net. I'm trying to net. Now you talking about gross? That's past 200,000. Like I said, well, one of my mindsets. I don't know if you guys know. I don't say my mindset, but I was a truck driver, so I understand gross versus net, and understanding business and marketing, and you know what I'm saying. So you got to understand that piece to really understand what I'm saying. So the other part, how many homes must you sell in the next 12 months to make that a reality? All right, there's a couple components you need to know before you do that. And it's the same if you were selling cars, the same if you're selling software, if you're selling whatever. You got to just know your numbers. And if you can hit those metrics, probably got a good chance of staying on pace. Now, once again, I mean, this is, I think, modest. I think it's modest. I think it's doable. I mean, I'm a newer agent. I don't think a lot of people would say I can accomplish it, but you gotta just set those goals for yourself, right? Like I said, it's a mindset thing. So to make this a reality, we're talking about 29 homes, 29 to 30 homes. Now the price points were different, maybe fewer homes. If they're lower, of course, probably more homes. But for the most part, the average gross income and uh, average gross commission on these particular properties, I'm thinking about 29 homes, right? Now, how am I going to sell 29 homes? And when I think about 29 homes, I think about 29 families. I need to help 29 families this year. That is a goal. And if I think about it in that way, it shifts out of, man, I gotta talk to a million people. No, 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 no. I don't have to talk to a million. I, and I don't need a million. I need 29 families. That's it. All right. So, but to get there, you still have to set appointments. You have to have phone calls. You have to have touches. You have to have real conversations. So that's when it is a lot, right? But you still break it down to numbers. So in my particular numbers, we're talking about how many appointments must you set in the next 12 months? Man, I need 150 appointments over the next 12 months, right? Every 5 appointments is one closing. How many conversations must you have in the next 12 months to set your yearly appointments? 2,400. I need to have 2,400 conversations. So I'm having conversations every day. And I need to do a better job tracking it, but every day I'm having conversations. And I don't care if you're at the gas station, I don't care if you're at the gym. If you lock eyes with me, we're gonna have a conversation. And you may say, "Oh, I'm gonna walk away." Okay, yeah, but for the most part, these are conversations I can see that people are welcoming. So I'm not just walking up to anybody, of course not. But for the most part, I'm able to have at least 1 to 2 conversations a day. I want to have more, but at a minimum 1 or 2 a day. Now, how many total reach out attempts must you make in the next 12 months to hit your yearly goal? 30,000. I need to have 30,000 touches. You know what I'm saying? And then you know what you have to do. This is 12 months. So now you're breaking this up month by month, week by week, day by day. You want to do hour by hour, do hour by hour, but that's the way you want to do it. So it's just something to kind of have it's a framework to just keep you moving and understanding, hey, these are the numbers I need to hit. Have I hit my metrics for the day? Have I hit my metrics for the month? You know what I'm saying? Now, just like I told you guys, these numbers are huge, but now we're gonna break them up. We're gonna break them down, right? So my weekly appointment set goal, I need to have three. I need to have three appointments. That should be my set goal for the week. Am I hitting those? Tomato, tomato. No, 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 no. We need to hit these. We need to hit these goals. So I'm gonna do a better job of hitting these goals. But I've been averaging about maybe 1 or 2. So we're close. Conversation goals, 50 for the week, 7 per day. What I tell you guys earlier. I think I'm having like maybe 1 or 2 minimum. I gotta crank that up, right? How do I have conversations with people 7 times a day, 7 new individuals? And that's my thought process, right? How do I get in front of these individuals? How do I get connected with these individuals? And so when you're thinking about sales, when you're thinking about real estate, when you're thinking about anything, you're thinking about, what do I have to do to get in front of these people? And to be ready to be in front of these people, because you can hit these numbers tomorrow if you wanted to. You can go to a conference, be able to have an opportunity to speak in front of all these people. But if you don't know what to say, or you don't know what to do, or you don't know how to handle objections, it doesn't mean nothing. Doesn't mean nothing. You still need to know what you're doing. All right. So my weekly conversation goals, I need to have 50, 7 per day. Now my reach out goals, 625 for the week, 89 per day. Right, reach out goals. So I think that's touches. Um, so yeah, man, that's ultimately what it is. So I want to give myself the best chance of doing this. And at some point I'm going to hire a business coach, like another real like high level business coach. And I currently have one. I have one, and she's awesome, awesome. I'm just trying to get one like real estate related to kind of just help me with my sales, help me with my communication and closing. That's it. That's gonna take it to the next level. Like I can see it already. Like a lot of this stuff I already knew, but just to take it to to that next level, I know I'm gonna have to put some money into this to truly know and understand how to communicate in a way that, because you guys know my goal is not to be a pushy salesperson. That's not my goal. My goal is to understand how to communicate, understand how to get the information that I'm looking out of you, not manipulation wise, but just to know the right questions to ask you so you can understand, hey, this is what I'm looking for, or uh, more or less, this is my time period. This is what, I'm still having trouble creating those conversations and hitting this. We have a acronym called LP Mama that kind of keeps us on point on certain things, but I just want more context when it comes to communication skills. So that's the goal, man. That's where I'm at. So as you guys see, I got the seminar coming up this Sunday. We are slowly growing the business, moving forward, and then we're just trying to understand what's next. I'm already thinking a year out. And the first conversation I had with Ben with my broker, he told me immediately, he's like, whatever your ultimate goal is, like think big, and then just reverse engineer. And that's what I have to do. I truly need to do that because I'm already thinking big, but I'm kind of opposite way, like from here where I'm at right now currently and trying to get there. But if I want to accomplish selling whatever I'm trying to sell or do whatever I'm trying to do, let me find a subject or find someone already doing it and then just kind of reverse and see how they got there and then tweak some things here and there and then boom, now we're there. So that's the goal moving forward, man. If you have any questions, once again, hit me up. Hit me up, please. Hit me up. Got any questions? If you know anybody looking to buy or sell, of course, hit me up. I tell you, I am a realtor, but I'm not your realtor yet. I'm not your realtor yet. But also, additionally, I'm not a realtor that's going to tell you you have to sell, 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 or you need to buy, buy, buy. Like if you're not in a financial situation to buy, I'm going to tell you not to buy. I'm just being real. That might cost me sales, but that's just what it is. I still got to have a moral compass about myself, about not even just a moral compass. I wouldn't say that. I would say I still need to have a standard, pillars I stand on. And if you're not comfortably in a situation where you could benefit from owning a home, probably not for you. If you're young and you're just trying to be in a, apartment, okay, probably not for you, probably not ready. I'm not going to push the issue. I'm going to push it. So, you know, as a realtor, sometimes it's hard for people to turn it on and off. For me, it's not. I understand it. I've been there, done that. It's not an issue to me. But if you know anybody who's looking to buy and they are in a situation, financial situation where they could do it, please, like I said, referrals help because now it allows me to host seminars. It allows me to host certain events. It allows me to be a part of committee. It does a lot. Referral business kind of gives you freedom to do those things. And so that's what I want moving forward to get there. But I can't do that without your help. I can't do that without people sharing, without people commenting, without people pushing things out there. So, and then I think the last thing I'm gonna tell you guys is I am working on I think I'm gonna work on it this week or this weekend. No, probably not this weekend. Next week for sure. One of my designations, realtor designation. I'm working on realtor designation and my application. I just finished my bachelor's degree. I want to get my MBA now, and it's crazy because I promise you, man, I was not the smartest person in school. I actually tried to do computer science. That's a difficult degree. And I tried to stick my hat in there and it was not working. I took the same CS class like 4 times and they were like, nah, this is not for me, bro. But I kind of avoided this route of being a realtor and avoided this thing, but I love it. I love it with a passion. And today just put the icing on it. Like I truly love this inside and out. But like I said, I understand business I think it's at a high level, but I want to make sure I understand the whole inner workings, and anything that I'm missing, I want to be able to put that together to make sure I'm establishing my business the right way. Because remember, every realtor you run into is not an individual. He or she is a business. They're their own entity. They work with a broker. The broker holds their license, but they run their own business, right? With respect to the broker, when it comes to certain things. But I say that to say this: I'm gonna start working on my MBA. I've been supposed to been put in my application at UTEP, but I may just try to find an online program, be done with it. But I really want to do the UTEP program, so I'm gonna probably try to start working on that next week or the week after. At least put that in and get that going, because yeah. So that was my goal. I told you guys from where I'm at now to my year mark, trying to get everything together when it comes to my systems. By the year mark, start generating a team. From that year mark to the second year mark, just really developing that team in fully engaging with them and understanding what works, what doesn't work. And then from there, I want to go commercial. And I know that's aggressive, man, but I've always been an aggressive person. I've always been an aggressive person. And I understand some people say it's very difficult, and I'm pretty sure it is. I'm pretty sure when you talk about commercial, it is a very tough industry to get into, and it's once again, it's a networking thing, and people only work with certain people. But I understand it. I understand development. I understand all this stuff, um, and I understand numbers, and it's a little easier for me. Like I said, when it comes to being a residential realtor or realtor, it's a lot of emotions. It's a lot of conversations. And look, I'm conversational to a point, but I don't like having them. I'm just being real. I just don't. I don't, man, because it gets me on my comfort zone. I like staying in my soul, and but prior to this, I always wanted to do commercial. So commercial is more, it's numbers. It's making sure you have the packet correctly, making sure you understand the overall business aspect of something, and then being able to present it in a way that an investor would understand. You know, and I think there's a tremendous opportunity out here in El Paso. I think there's some people that been running this game for a very, very long time, and there needs to be some new players, man. That's just me. There needs to be some new players, and I want to be one of those new players out here in El Paso. I'm not lying at all, man. I really think there's some people they've been having a great time. They've been eating. They've been doing what they need to be doing, and but I think they're not doing what they could be doing. You know what I'm saying? I think when I go down to the city meeting, I just hear a lot of opportunities when it comes to development. I hear a lot of opportunities when it comes to um, opportunity zones out here. Like, things that could be pushed out here a little bit harder when it comes to the private sector. I think I could do something. Now, then I know the NBA will help me a little bit, well, a lot, to be honest. It helped me out a lot. But once again, the track that I want to run and go on, I gotta find time to try to network with some of these um, commercial brokers. So that's gonna be the goal, man. So if you see me out there, you know anything, you can help me out. I would love it. I would love to sit down and have a conversation. If you want to know anything, if you want to pick my brain, hey, let's have a conversation. Let's just relax. Like I said, I'm always open to networking. I hope you guys are always open to networking. I want to see you guys. Let me put it back on the screen. I want to see you guys. Boom, boom. There we go. I want to see you guys at the seminar. This is the first seminar of the year for me. February 22nd, 2026. It's going to be from 1 to 4 p.m. Free parking, 501 North Oregon Street, El Paso, Texas. It is the downtown library. You could just Google downtown library. It's going to be in the Sullivan Room. As soon as you walk into the library, you're going to make an immediate left, walk past two bookshelves, and right to the right. You're going to move right to the right. It's rooms right there. uh, through a pair of double doors. You know, it's a beautiful room, beautiful, beautiful room. And once again, so you guys understand, your taxpayer hard-earned dollars pay for this library. So enjoy it. It's a beautiful library. It has a beautiful screen up there, a projector set up, podium, nice table. We got the works, man. I'm gonna try to get some other stuff there, but this is gonna. I know it says from 1 to 4, but typically it might take me 45 minutes, 40 minutes to get through the material. And my goal is always to make majority of it just questions. That's it. If you have any questions, I would love to talk to you. Again, I'm not a CPA. I'm not a tax attorney. I'm not any of that. I'm giving you broad information over property taxes overall. I do have a little bit more information at a deeper level, but I don't want to go too deep with it. I want to be able to make sure you just understand, hey, these are some of the topics and components you should understand. And then from there, I would challenge you just to go ahead and call Central Appraisal District and just verify that information and get in-depth information from the source. Remember, Central Appraisal District is not collecting property taxes. The city's collecting property taxes. The county is collecting property taxes. That's who the hell's doing it, right? They're charging, right? Who else is those entities? You have MUDs, municipal utility districts. You have PIDs. Um, you have PIDs. You have HOAs. And that's a whole nother topic, man. There's a lot of HOAs in El Paso now. I don't know if you guys know, but there's a lot. What else is in here? You have EPCC. You have the school districts. You have um, fire and emergency. If you're out in Horizon, oh my God, there's a lot of entities when it comes to property taxes. So we're gonna take a deep dive a little bit on that. We're gonna understand those timelines. We're gonna understand the difference between, I'm only highlighting 3 exemptions: 65 and older, and disabled. We're talking about veterans and disabled veterans, 100%, all the way down to 10%, right? A 10% rating. And then lastly, we're talking about homestead exemption, which everybody should have if that's your primary residence. We're going to talk about that. And then the last component, of course, is challenging your property value when it comes to the assessed taxable value, right? That's the last thing we're going to talk about. These are things you have to know and have an understanding for it. And I'm going to tell you guys and give you guys, because you guys know I love giving examples. I have to give you an example. So we're going to talk about the examples of me actually going. I'm going to tell you from my case of what I've done, and going in person to the informal process, to going to the ARB board and just doing that, and then the process of making sure my evidence is where it needs to be. These are things I think we got to have more conversations about. So that's going to be the goal, man. That's the goal. So again, I appreciate you guys coming on. If you have any questions, comments, put in the comment section. Again, that QR code goes right to my website, all my social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, X, Twitch, TikTok, LinkedIn, all of it. So just hit me up on any of those platforms, no problem at all. You see my phone number, 915-487-6602. Call me, text me. If you're a spam caller, you're gonna get blocked. No, no ands, ifs, or buts about it. As well as if you see me out, hey, let's have a conversation. I love to network, and I hope you do as well. That's the whole thing about this. So appreciate it. You guys know my name, Mike Clark. I'm a realtor out here in El Paso, Texas. Lastly, the Keys and Knowledge team, powered by the War Team. That's my brokerage. But the Keys and Knowledge team is my brand and, my particular company. So understand that, listen, I want to give you keys. I do. I really do. But I have a hard time turning this off. And I'm sorry to the clients. I have a client like this. I have clients where they really seem like they want to tune me out. But I have to give you extra. I have to give you more. And it's not that I'm trying to challenge you and say you don't know it. You probably do know it, but I just want to reiterate it and hit it and let you know again. I'm sorry. So that's my thing with this. Keys and knowledge is simply to make sure that, hey, I'm promoting home ownership, but I'm also promoting the knowledge behind it. Because yeah, you can get the keys, but if you don't understand about all the other things that go with all these other components that go with home ownership, that's a problem. When it comes to city issues, that's a problem. I don't know everything about city issues, but I'm learning. I don't know everything about these meetings, but I'm learning. That's what I want you to do. Be open to it. Man, look, I was just a kid. Now I'm an adult. And I be thinking like, shouldn't an adult be speaking up about this? Oh yeah, I'm that adult. I need to be speaking up. I need to be at these meetings. And you should look at yourself the same way. You are a tax-paying citizen. You have to be a part of this stuff, man. Um, the last thing I would say is, and I say this with a grain of salt, it's to the point that when I go into a Walmart or a gas station and I see these self-checkout systems and I see 19-year-old, 20-year-olds, 25-year-old kids saying, hey, go use that machine. I stop what I'm doing and I say, you're telling this, you know you're replacing yourself, right? You know that, right? And some people may think differently, but that's the way I think. I told this one lady at the car wash, and she was so upset with me. If this kiosk can work itself, I know how to work a kiosk, but she's there just to kind of click the button. I say, you know why you're here, right? It's not for me. It's for those 60, 70-year-old people that don't know how to work this kiosk. But once they get enough people that know how to use these machines, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. I think our grandparents and great grandparents would have been striking. I think that's what happened when machines were introduced to factories. They were striking. They were scared. There's no panic out here, man. It's calm. It is calm. Even for my career, I know AI is powerful. AI could replace realtors. AI could do a lot of different things. You know, but that's a conversation for another day, man. I don't want to scare y'all. But I appreciate everybody coming on. I appreciate you staying tuned. It's about an hour, man. So I appreciate it. I'm gonna try to, of course, push this out more and more and more information. But again, if you know anybody who could use this information, please share. I have upcoming events coming up. Hopefully, I can be able to get everything timed the right way. And I can send that out soon. And if you have any ideas or anything you want me to speak about, DM me and let me know. Call me, let me know. Text me, let me know. All right. I appreciate you guys. Till next time. Peace.